Japan is building the world's largest water tank by hollowing out a mountain, and the reason is not what you think. This enormous project by Japan has been in development for over 20 years with an estimated cost of $600 million. This giant water tank will be over 70 meters high and nearly 70 meters wide upon completion, and this is what it will look like. But why is Japan hollowing out a mountain to build such a huge device? Well, this humongous device would be used to study one of the smallest known particles in our universe, neutrinos. But you may ask, why is this even important? Let's start this video with a little science lesson for better understanding. For the longest time, scientists believed that atoms were the smallest known substance in the universe. However, later discoveries showed that atoms are composed of three extremely tiny subatomic particles known as protons, neutrons, and electrons. This discovery changed our understanding of the nature of matter and energy and the universe's origin. Meanwhile, further studies revealed that protons, neutrons, and electrons are not the only tiny particles in the universe. There are even smaller particles that cannot be further broken down and are known as elementary particles. Thus far, 17 kinds of elementary particles have been found, and neutrinos are one of them. But neutrinos remain one of the most intriguing scientific mysteries even many years after their discovery. Surprisingly, neutrinos are everywhere. They are the most abundant particles in the universe, only after light. In fact, tens of trillions of neutrinos pour down from the sun and stars, and many of these pass through your body every second. However, you can't feel them because neutrinos hardly ever interact with matter. Despite their ubiquitous nature, neutrinos are difficult to spot and have been described as the most elusive prey in the cosmos. Nevertheless, there are a few things known about neutrinos after many years of scientific investigation. First, neutrinos are generated by nuclear reactions inside stars and planets, other interstellar processes, and when cosmic rays from space collide with the Earth's atmosphere. For instance, neutrinos are produced when a star reaches the end of its life and explodes in a supernova. This was confirmed during the supernova 1987A event. Furthermore, neutrinos are generated artificially inside nuclear reactors on Earth. But perhaps more interesting is that neutrinos can be found from natural sources such as bananas. The natural radioactivity of the potassium in the fruit can emit neutrinos. But not to worry, they are perfectly safe to eat. Another known fact about neutrinos is that they have mass. However, the mass is so small that it was long thought that neutrinos were completely massless, thus adding to its mystery. However, experiments roughly 20 years ago revealed that neutrinos do have mass. Moreover, since neutrinos were assumed to be massless for a long time, scientists believed they could travel at the speed of light. However, since it is established that neutrinos possess mass, they should travel slightly lower than the speed of light in accordance with special relativity. Now that we've got the science of neutrinos out of the way, let's talk about why Japan is building this giant underground water tank to measure neutrinos. We've already established that elementary particles are extremely small, smaller than atoms, thus making them difficult to observe directly. One way of detecting them is by observing their interactions with other particles or matter. That is what is happening at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. Scientists will smash particles into one another at high speed and record their reactions. Another way to observe them is just by listening, which is as simple as it sounds. But to do this, you need a remote, quiet, and very peaceful location. And what other place can be more ideal than Japan? Kamioka is a small town nestled in the magnificent Japanese Alps, where the Hyper Kamiokande detector is being constructed. This huge experimental neutrino detector will be constructed 600 meters underground at the Kamioka mine in Hida City, Chifu Prefecture. The total cost of this project is estimated at approximately $600 million in collaboration with institutes from over 20 countries across 6 continents. Upon completion, the Hyper Kamiokande will be the largest of its kind. But surprisingly, the Hyper Kamiokande isn't the first of its kind. In fact, two similar but smaller scale neutrino detectors have been built in the same location under the Kamioka mine. The first detector was completed in 1983 and was named the Kamioka Nucleon Decay Experiment, or Kamioka NDE for short. The Kamioka NDE contributed substantially to the advancement of particle physics, and it recorded the neutrino emission during the supernova 1987A event. Professor Masatoshi Koshiba, who detected the neutrinos, was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2002. The success of the Kamioka NDE gave rise to a much bigger Super Kamiokande in 1996. Similarly, the Super Kamiokande continued to lead the world in neutrino research and is still in operation today. In 1998, Dr. Takeaki Kaita discovered neutrino oscillation and was later awarded a Nobel Prize in Physics in 2000. Just 8 kilometers south of the Super Kamiokande is the latest iteration of the neutrino detectors, the Hyper Kamiokande, built deep inside the mountain and accessed by approach tunnels at diverse levels. At 94 meters high and 69 meters wide, it's big enough to fit a 25-story building. The initial plan for the project dates back to 1999 and was finally approved in 2020 after more than 2 decades of development. The construction officially began on-site in May 2021, and it took just 9 months to excavate a 2-kilometer-long access tunnel. Following this, the excavation of approach tunnels that connect the access tunnel to the main cavern began and was completed in 5 months. As the observatory sits 600 meters below the mountain peak, a dome section with steel reinforcement was created to stabilize and support the huge cylindrical structure. This was completed in October 2023, and now the team has begun blasting down through 71 meters of solid rock to create the main cavern that will house the observatory. Of course, excavating the rock is hard work for the construction team, but this is what makes the location a perfect neutrino observatory. Most cosmic rays and other background radiation cannot pass through the rock, but neutrinos can pass through anything. Therefore, the rock serves as a natural filter that prevents unintended particles that could ruin the experiment from getting into the observatory. The excavation of the cavern is expected to be completed in 2024. Thereafter, the gigantic Hyper Kamiokande cylinder, measuring 71 meters high and 69 meters wide, will be lined with concrete and waterproof material. Once fully watertight, the tank will be flooded with 260 million liters of ultra-pure water, as in previous generations of the Kamiokande series. However, the Hyper Kamiokande will be 5 times larger than its predecessor, which can hold only 50 million liters. Although neutrinos hardly ever interact with other particles, it is not impossible. There is a very tiny probability of neutrinos colliding with electrons and ejecting charged particles. Despite these small odds, the abundance of neutrinos means that, statistically, some will be seen to interact. This is what this structure is designed to observe. When a neutrino particle passing through the tank collides with electrons, it gives off a weak, ring-shaped light known as Cherenkov radiation. This weak glow is recorded in real time using some special tools designed to capture the presence of a neutrino interaction. 400,000 super-sensitive light detectors, known as photomultiplier tubes, or PMTs, will be fitted into the enormous Hyper Kamiokande tank. The PMTs in the Super Kamiokande are so sensitive that a single one could detect the light of a flashlight on the moon's surface. However, the sensors being made for the Hyper Kamiokande are nearly twice as sensitive as this, and have also been designed to withstand the weight of 260 million liters of water. Work is still ongoing, and the construction of the Hyper Kamiokande is expected to be fully complete in 2026. However, it won't start observing neutrino particles until 2027. In addition, it will observe possible spontaneous proton decay in atomic nuclei. After learning everything about neutrinos, you may still be wondering why they are so important. Well, for a start, understanding neutrinos fully could fundamentally change how we think about the universe. These mysterious particles could give us a better understanding of the origin of the universe. Furthermore, observing neutrinos can give us a better understanding of how dying stars end their life. The neutrino emissions from the supernova 1987A reached Earth approximately 2 to 3 hours before visible light was observed. Some scientists have also suggested that these elusive particles could be the building blocks for incredible new technologies. They have some amazing qualities, such as traveling near light speed, and it could change how we communicate and share data. It may also be useful in terms of national security by helping a nation detect the presence of nuclear weapons. Do you think neutrino experiments are going to live up to the hype? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.